People were already filing into the Great Hall of Unseen University. Vimes had been firm about this. It was the only thing he'd held out for. He wasn't exactly an atheist, because atheism was a non-survival trait on a world with several thousand gods. He just didn't like any of them very much, and didn't see what business it was of theirs that he was getting married. He turned down any of the temples and churches, but the Great Hall had a sufficiently churchy look, which is what people always feel is mandatory on these occasions. It's not actually essential for any gods to drop in, but they should feel at home if they do. Vimes strolled down there early because there's nothing more useless in the world than a groom just before the wedding. Interchangeable Emmas had taken over the house. There were already a couple of ushers in place, ready to ask guests whose side they were on. And there were a number of senior wizards hanging around. They were automatically guests at such a society wedding, and certainly at the reception afterwards. Probably one roast ox wouldn't be enough. Despite his deep distrust of magic, he quite liked the wizards. They didn't cause trouble. At least, they didn't cause his kind of trouble. True, occasionally they fractured the time-space continuum or took the canoe of reality too close to the white waters of chaos, but they never broke the actual law. "Good morning, Arch-Chancellor," he said. Arch-Chancellor Mustrum Ridcully, supreme leader of all wizards in Ankh-Morpork, whenever they could be bothered, gave him a cheery nod. "Good morning, Captain," he said. "I must say you've got a nice day for it."
"Ha ha ha ha, a nice day for it," leered the Burzr.
"Oh dear," said Ridcully. "He's off again. Can't understand the man. Anyone got the dried frog pills?" It was a complete mystery to Mustrum Ridcully, a man designed by nature to live outdoors and happily slaughter anything that coughed in the bushes, why the Burzr, a man designed by nature to sit in a small room somewhere adding up figures, was so nervous. He tried all sorts of things to, as he put it, buck him up. These included practical jokes, surprise early morning runs, and leaping out at him from behind doors while wearing Willy the Vampire masks, in order, he said, to take him out of himself. The service itself was going to be performed by the Dean, who had carefully made one up. There was no official civil marriage service in Ankh-Morpork, other than something approximating to, "Oh, all right then, if you really must." He nodded enthusiastically at Vimes.
"We've cleaned out our organ especially for the occasion," he said. "Ha ha ha, organ," said the Burzr.
"And a mighty one it is, as organs go." Ridcully stopped and signaled to a couple of student wizards. "Just take the Burzr away and make him lie down for a while, will you?" he said. "I think someone's been feeding him meat again." There was a hiss from the far end of the great hall, and then a strangled squeak. Vimes stared at the monstrous array of pipes. "Got 8 students pumping the bellows," said Ridcully, to a background of wheezes. "It's got 3 keyboards and 100 extra knobs, including 12 with question mark on them." "Sounds impossible for a man to play," said Vimes politely. We had a stroke of luck there." There was a moment of sound so loud that the aural nerves shut down. When they opened again, somewhere around the pain threshold, they could just make out the opening and extremely bent bars of Fondel's Wedding March, being played with gusto by someone who discovered that the instrument didn't just have 3 keyboards, but a whole range of special acoustic effects, ranging from flatulence to humorous chicken squawk. The occasional ook of appreciation could be heard amidst the sonic explosion. Somewhere under the table, Vimes screamed at Ridcully, "Amazing! Who built it?" "I don't know, but it's got the name B.S. Johnson on the keyboard cover." There was a descending wail, one last hurdy-gurdy effect, and then silence. 20 minutes those lads were pumping up the reservoirs," said Ridcully, dusting himself off as he stood up. "Go easy on the Vox Day stop. There's a good chap." Ook. The Arch-Chancellor turned back to Vimes, who was wearing the standard waxen prenuptial grimace. The hall was filling up quite well now. "I'm not an expert on this stuff," he said, "but you've got the ring, have you?" "Yes." "Who's giving away the bride?" "Her Uncle Lofthouse. He's a bit gaga, but she insisted." "And the best man?" "What?" "The best man. You know, he hands you the ring and has to marry the bride if you run away and so on." The Dean's been reading up on it, haven't you, Dean?
Oh, yes,
said the Dean, who'd spent all the previous day with Lady Dreedy Wagon's Book of Etiquette.
She's got to marry someone once she's turned up. You can't have unmarried brides flapping around the place, being a danger to society.
I completely forgot about a best man, said Vimes. The librarian, who'd given up on the organ until it had some more puff, brightened up. Ook? Well, go and find one, said Ridcully. You've got nearly half an hour. It's not as easy as that, is it? They don't grow on trees. Ook? I can't think of who to ask. Ook? The librarian liked being best man. You were allowed to kiss bridesmaids, and they weren't allowed to run away. He was really disappointed when Vimes ignored him. Elsewhere, Acting Constable Cuddy climbed laboriously up the steps inside the Tower of Art, grumbling to himself. He knew he couldn't complain. They'd drawn lots because Carrot said you shouldn't ask the men to do something you wouldn't do yourself. And he'd drawn the short straw, ha-ha, which meant the tallest building. That meant if there was any trouble, he'd miss it. He paid no attention to the thin rope dangling from the trapdoor far above. Even if he'd thought about it, so what? It was just a rope. Elsewhere again, Gaspode looked up into the shadows. There was a growl from somewhere in the darkness. It was no ordinary dog growl. Early man had heard sounds like that in deep caves. Gaspode sat down. His tail thumped uncertainly.
Knew I'd find you sooner or later, he said. The old nose, eh? Finest instrument known to dog.
There was another growl. Gaspode whimpered a bit.
The thing is, he said, the actual thing is, see, the thing what I've been sent to do.
Late man heard sounds like that too, just before he became late.
I can see you don't want to talk right now, said Gaspode. But the thing is, now, I know what you're thinking. Is Gaspode obeying orders from a human?
Gaspode looked conspiratorially over his shoulder, as if there could be anything worse than what was in front of him.
That's the whole mess about being a dog, see, he said. That's the thing what Big Fido can't get his mind around, see? You looked at the dogs in the guild, right? You heard 'em howl. Oh yes, death to the humans, all right. But under all that, there's the fear. There's the voice saying, bad dog. And it don't come from anywhere but inside, right from inside the bones, 'cause humans made dogs. I knows this. I wish I didn't, but there it is. That's the power. Knowin'. I've read books, I have. Well, chewed books.
The darkness was silent.
And you're a wolf and human at the same time, right? Tricky, that. I can see that. Bit of a dichotomy sort of thing. Makes you kind of like a dog. 'Cause that's what a dog is, really. Half a wolf and half a human. You were right about that. We've even got names. So our bodies tell us one thing, our heads tell us another. It's a dog's life being a dog. And I bet you can't run away from him. Not really. He's your master.
The darkness was more silent. Gaspode thought he heard movement.
He wants you to come back. The thing is, if he finds you, that's it. He'll speak, and you'll have to obey. But if you go back of your own accord, then it's your decision. You'd be happier as a human. I mean, what can I offer you except rats and a choice of fleas? I mean, I don't know. I don't see it as much of a problem. You just have to stay indoors 6 or 7 nights every month.
Angua howled. The hairs that still remained on Gaspode's back stood on end. He tried to remember which was his jugular vein.
I don't want to have to come in there to get you, he said.
Truth rang on every word.
The thing is, the actual thing is, I will though,
he added, trembling.
It's a bugger, being a dog.
He thought some more, and sighed.
Oh, I remember. It's the one in the throat, he said.